And hey, welcome to the call. It is the second Tuesday of the month of January, and we've got all kinds of new and great news for you all to hear. I'm excited for you to see what's going on because there's going to be a new look, new sheriff in town. There's going to be a new look to our heat calls. So first of all, I want to welcome you all for showing up, and I'm going to do a little share screen here. And this is the thing, right? So showing up, I love this. 80% of success is showing up, and I want to congratulate all of you that have shown up and are on this call, ready to go. Maybe you're taking some notes, excited for the new year. So if showing up is 80%, then we're doing really well, right? Yeah. And you're doing really well. So I just wanted to remind you that these Tuesday calls, show up. It's easy. It'll help a lot. It'll help you a lot. And it'll be a chance for us to connect. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about exactly is the new look. I forgot what I was doing exactly. The new look of our Tuesday night calls. What is it going to look like? What does it mean for everybody? So we've always just had the 4 Tuesdays. The first Tuesday of the month was our small open NMD. So those people that were, for example, just on under me, not under another national marketing director, would be on a call with us the first Tuesday. And the next 3 Tuesdays would be the entire heat team together. And we're shaking it up a little bit. And I'm really excited about the shakeup. So what it's going to look like is the 2nd and 4th Tuesday. And I realize this month it's different because Jeanne Hopkins was on our first Tuesday. So don't let that confuse you. You say, well, that's not what happened in January. You're right. It's not what happened in January. But from now on, 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of every month will be all heat team call. Everybody's invited. All national marketing directors will be on the call with us. And the second,
national marketing directors from the heat team.
Yeah, from the heat team. The 2nd Tuesday of the month will be specifically for up-and-coming leaders all over the world in our Juice Plus world, some icons, people that are really up to something that want to share for everyone their story, their journey, and we feel like those calls will benefit everybody. Hang on, I'm going to mute out everybody here. So hang on one second. Mute all. There we go. All right. So that's what's going to happen on the 2nd Tuesday. The 4th Tuesday of the month is going to be more of an advanced training Tuesday. And we're going to be getting into how to read reports, how to do things that are a little bit more advanced that's going to be designed for sales coordinators and above. However, everybody's welcome to be on the call. So even though we're saying sales coordinators and above, the really cool thing about it is if you hear about it when you're not quite a sales coordinator, then when you get to that place, you'll be hearing about it a second time, and we know that repetition is really important. So that will be the 4th Tuesday of the month, and just to let you know, the 4th Tuesday of this month, January 28th, will be Alexis Busselman teaching us how to read the reports for reshipping orders and how it can really help you promote out more distributors on your team, how to use reshipping to promote out reps. So that's what's going to happen on the 28th. So then what's going to happen on the 1st and the 3rd? So we're still having calls on our team every Tuesday night. Some of you may be on this call tonight under another NMD. You're welcome to be on these calls if they're not having calls every Tuesday night, but we're going to continue to meet every Tuesday night. And I'm going to tell you why we think that's so important for us to continue meeting on Tuesday nights. The intention of the call is connection. That's really the intention. And it's about creating more connection and being more interactive. I'm going to tell you how that looks to be more interactive, but I want to share another little slide with all of you right here. Hopefully you can all see this. I really love this. It's Brene Brown. And for those of you that have done Brave Leaders, you're familiar with this. But connection is why we are here. Us as human beings, we are hardwired to connect with others. So if we're hardwired to connect with others, then connecting every Tuesday night really creates much more intimacy, creates bigger energy. It creates one more thing that I'm going to share next. This is the next slide I want to share that I think is really important. So it says screen sharing is stopped. I'm going to share one more time. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Jeanne Houston, but she's a brilliant, brilliant sociologist, anthropologist, and I've followed her for a long time. Human connections are deeply nurtured in the field of shared story. That's what we do on Tuesday nights. We share story. We create connection. We create inspiration. We create a safe place for people to be so they can move forward, a place where people can ask questions and learn together. When one person makes a deep connection, it affects everybody. And I think I finally have this quote correct, but a rising tide raises all ships.
That's it, honey. You got it.
Thank you. It took me a second. But that's what we are. We really are in that place, and we have that opportunity to connect in that way. So let's see.
The other thing about the connection I want to say is we know that to stay fired up in our business, you got to stay close to the heat, and we are the heat, and we're bringing it every Tuesday night. So put it on your calendar, and as you do, so will your team do. So be connected to what's going on a weekly basis. People have a tendency to drift away the further they get away from the calls, and we have a lot of experience right here tonight that can fortify that idea.
Validate it too.
Validate is the word I was looking for.
Fortify vitamins, which we don't use
with
anymore.
fortify.
No, it's good. It's all
I couldn't
good.
get to validate.
Validate is good. So it's all about the first and third will be intimate. There'll be more connection, and it'll also be more interactive. And so what I mean by that, the way that the first and third calls are going to look is there will be some trainings on some of the calls. Some trainings might only be 10 minutes long. There might be 20-minute trainings. Some of the calls may have training and it'll be a work 20 minutes where maybe we do a little training and then all of us do a text blitz together for the next 20 minutes. The calls will always still be a half hour long. Some calls will be working calls. Some calls will be training calls, learning how to read reports. Anything that we feel is new, up and coming, that anybody needs to know about, that's what's going to happen on the first and third Tuesdays. And who's going to do those trainings? It won't be just Chris and I. It will be some of you that have come across something that's really important that maybe you've shared with us, and I might say, hey, Carrie, that sounds like something the whole group should know about. Would you be willing to train on that for 15 minutes on one of our Tuesdays? So we'll be talking about onboarding. We'll be talking about how to start up conversations. For those of you that have a hard time starting up conversations, those things that come up very often on my coaching calls with somebody, and they say, I'm having trouble with, I know that there's lots of other people having trouble with whatever that. So I'm going to be taking my cues from our partners and the things that are coming up for them that all of you need to know about. So next thing we really wanted to cover, that's it. So we're still having calls every Tuesday night, 6 p.m., but the first and third will be a little bit more intimate, just our group, and hopefully you'll be getting your people on those first and third calls as well as the second and fourth Tuesday, because I think it's going to be really exciting. We're going to shake it up. So, Chris.
We're going to talk about some contests.
Yes. No, you're going to talk about Mexico, and then I'm going to do these at the end. So
okay.
Your turn. You're up.
Okay. So.
Hola. ¿Cómo está? Bien?
Yes, thank you.
Sí.
Sí, por supuesto. Here's the thing. We call this called Starting Local, Start Local, Go Global. And first of all, I want to remind you that I hope you were on that call last week with Sean Hopkins. If you weren't, go back and listen to it. Where do they access that?
Turn Up the Heat Facebook group, also the Heat Facebook group. If you're not in under Chris and I, you can find it on the Heat Facebook group as well as Turn Up the Heat.
What about our Heat TV station or whatever that's called?
Oh, the Heat YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not there. It's just on the Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so if you were on that call, you know that we're talking about a company that's 50 years old, retooled, reimagined. And I'm just excited as heck about the next 50 years. And you should be too. It's going to be, it's going to accelerate. It's simpler. And so what's coming is really exciting. And one of the great things that's coming immediately is a new market. And that's the opening of Mexico. And so if you haven't heard much about it, this is huge. This is something every one of you can participate in. and I'm going to tell you how and why. But first of all, just to give you an idea of the immensity of this, is that it's a new market. But the cool thing is about the Hispanic market, you do not have to leave the country to build. Okay, you can build it here with your Hispanic friends. And we've never really had that opportunity before. But before I go into that, I want to say this is just the first Spanish-speaking country, not counting Spain, of course, but first Latin American country that we're going into. But the vision is to work right down into Central and South America all the way down. So you build a business in Mexico, those people will build further south, and this is just going to go like dominoes. It's going to be really, really exciting. So get connected to how big this is.
And can I say something about having your Hispanic friends? Maybe some of you don't have any friends that are Hispanic. Maybe you don't, but you have friends that probably have friends that are. Yeah, so begin asking. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Here's the other thing that we've never actually seen before, because of the opening of Mexico, is usually when we're going into a foreign country, 3 to 6 months in advance, you build for it, and you put a lot of energy into not having any business at that time. You're sort of in the gambling, I think they call it betting on the come. When that country opens, you're going to hit the jackpot. But now we have 60 million Hispanic people in the United States. If you open up a conversation with them, and they need our product, the Hispanics in the U.S. need it, and Mexico even more so, because guess what? The country of Mexico is #1 in child obesity. They're, I think, in the top 3 in diabetes per capita. So they need our product. We've already had a lot of conversations with people down in that country and here locally, and all of them are talking about health. They know that their culture is health challenged. So it's just a natural for our product. The product is going to be just as hot a topic of conversation as the opportunity. So the other thing about Mexico is they love network marketing. They love direct sales. Networking and direct sales does not have the stigma it has in the United States. You all know you run into that. You open up the conversation, that person's kind of doing this to you energetically, like, oh, get away from me. It's one of those deals. They don't have that. They're entrepreneurial. They're great people. We have the solution that they're looking for. And
can I maybe, Carrie, speak a few words to that? Because
sure.
Carrie, you went to the GoPro Mastery and you heard from somebody who built a huge business in Mexico. And what was their thoughts on this?
Well, it was real interesting. He went into Mexico, and then it expanded down to Central America and South America. And he said it's never about geography. It's about who you are and who is your leader. And he said you can present in both languages. You don't have to learn the language, because he said there's always people they speak English, or there's a translator there, so you can present. But he said really it starts in the U.S. So all of us know people who know someone who's living in Mexico. In fact, a lot of the Hispanic community sends money into Mexico. This is a perfect opportunity. And that's what he really talked about, is go local if you want to go global.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Carrie. And yeah, that's a big part of what I'm talking to people about, is if you know people that still have family in Mexico, Hispanics here that have family in Mexico, more than not, they are sending them money, okay, to help support them. That's one of the reasons they came to the U.S. in the first place. Well, guess what? I like to refer to that old adage, you can give a man a fish, you fed him for a day, teach him how to fish, you fed him for a lifetime. If we can help those families start their own, and they're very entrepreneurial, start their own income. Just think what it does for the local guy, the local Hispanic, local family here, and then they don't have to send money down there because they're creating their own income. So it's really a win-win situation. And again, 60 million Hispanics, we have a huge market that we really have not, they deserve what we have, that's for sure. And it's an easy conversation. And, your whole future with us, as far as financial future, is based on how many conversations you have, right? So this is an incredible opportunity to open up another conversation. We already have 4 doorways that we when we ask questions, we're kind of listening for Is somebody in pain over a medical problem? Or are they excited about being healthier? Or is it a financial problem? They'd like to have a secondary income. Those are 2 doors. Third door is the community. Do they have community? We know once we get people into this community, when they see us, the culture that we have, the love that we have, the support that we have, the positiveness, they're attractive. So a lot of people join us for the community. And then the personal development program. You've all heard we have a personal development program cleverly disguised as a business. People love that. So those are the 4 doors we've been taught to listen for. But this is the 5th door, the Hispanic door. And I know every one of you, if you either know somebody that's Hispanic or you are Hispanic, don't forget those, or they know somebody who is. I was having a conversation with Patty today and I said, you could build a business here just stopping people on the street saying, do you know anybody in Mexico? Right? I mean, that's how easy this can be. So take advantage of this. It's really going to be exciting. And one last thing. One of the things we do know is that to really be successful in any foreign country, it's better to be there. But you don't all have to go there. You make the contacts. We're keeping contract. The day that Mexico opens, I will be there. And I hope that we have 100 people to sign up on the spot through your contacts, and you're getting them on the phone with me, and then I meet with them when I get down there. So we've got that covered. You've got a man on the ground in Mexico. Just wanted to say that. And commit to the numbers. Open up the conversations. Remember that. You can't be attached to the outcome, but commit to the numbers.
Great. So it's been really fun for Chris and I because it is a whole new community, and telling them about this whole thing about opening up a new country. And we've sat down with a couple people, and they've said yes. They've said yes to the fact that they want to help their family in Mexico. They've said yes to helping their family here. We've been having a lot of fun with this. And there is a really great translating app that you can find. It's called Yandex. I don't have my phone handy. But what I do is I just write everything I would want to say to somebody. It translates it. You've got to make sure to go up and reread what you write. Because if you have a misspelling of a word, then it just puts that crazy word in the place of the real word that would be there because the translator doesn't know how to translate. So you got to be very careful. But I've been having entire incredible conversations with people that speak no Spanish. English.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So anyway, just want you to know, and I've been having fun because I go back and I read what I wrote and I read the sentence and I'm trying to learn more that way. So I've been having a ball. All right, so now we want to talk about, so that's Mexico. We've talked about the looks of the calls. We're still going to be on the call every Tuesday night. So hopefully you're going to get your new people on the calls. You're going to really support the calls because I think they're going to be I think the first and third are going to be really fun, really interactive, really intimate. And the second and fourth are going to be the big icons, the big trainers that are really up and coming right now. And then, of course, leaders for our sales coordinators. Any comment on that? Anybody excited about that switch up on our calls? Unmute yourself. Tell us what you think.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Regina. Anybody else?
I'm excited.
What do you like about it?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Leslie, what is it that you like about the idea?
I like that you're going to start showing reports and how to find reports and how to read reports and that kind of back office.
Great. And Carrie, you were going to say something.
Same thing, just listening to up and coming people that may be doing something different that we haven't heard about or whatever, and just the reports. And I think it's a great change.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm loving the intimacy of us getting together more often as a group. All right, so let's talk about incentives for Phoenix, because we got some big stuff going on. So here's the first thing that I want to share with you, which is this one. So I don't know how many of you have seen this on our chat, but this is the Burdick wrap-up that's going to happen in Phoenix on Saturday. It's going to be right after conference ends on Saturday. Everybody's invited. It's going to be an epic event. They've got all kinds of fun stuff happening, but they've also got, it's not okay. It's going to make me share it every time. They've also got this happening. So they're going to be giving over 20,000. We are. All the NMDs have gotten together, and we're going to be giving away over $20,000. How can you win? This is important because guess what? You're not going to send me your points this time. If you don't get your points directly into the contest, you won't be entered. And I'm going to show you the easy way to get yourself in. It's very cool. So here's some things. These are also posted on our broadcast Voxer. You can, save the picture in your album for events or whatever. But for example, attending the event for the first time attending the event, you get a point. First time conference attendee, you get a point. And then all of this can be found on your 12-month analysis. Super easy. If you never kept track, you can go back and find out everything you need to know. If you sponsored a new person, you get a point. You'll see that on your 12-month report. If you sponsored somebody who made it to the Partner Plus, or in the old days, 3 weeks ago, they would have been called a direct distributor. Sponsored a QSC, Qualified Sales Coordinator, in the old days, a VF, 1 point. New Sales Coordinator, 1 point. And if you have a customer qualified business, that means that you personally are doing over, it's going to be 1,800 points on our new office. Every single month yourself, that's going to give you 5 points, which means that in the 4 months that we have the contest, November, December, January, February, you could actually get your name in the hat 20 times for that. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
Nikki.
Yes.
Nikki, so do you want us to, does he want us to just turn it in for the whole period of time or for every month?
The whole period of time. I'm going to show you that, Carrie. It's a great question. So I'm going to stop here. It's going to make me share screen one more time. But if you go to the broadcast Voxer chat, there's a link there. And if you don't have that link, ask your upline to get you that link, because what it looks like is this. So when you click on that link, what you're going to see is something that looks like this. And it's going to ask you for your name, your last name, your PIN number. I couldn't screenshot all of it. It's actually going to ask you for these things. Then the next one looks like, oh, yikes. I don't know if it's this one or that one. It's got to be this one. Doesn't really matter. Looks like this. So your phone number, your upline NMD, and then it starts asking you questions. Are you a first-time Juice Plus live event? Yes or no? Then it tells you, pull up your 12-month analysis and look from November through February to answer these questions. And so the questions look like, I've lost it. But the questions will say something like, have you sponsored?
They'll address those 5 things you get paid for.
Yeah, they'll address the 5 things. Each question will relate to that, and you'll simply look at your 12-month report, look at what it is, and you'll put it in for all 4 months at one time. And again, the link is sitting at, so you're going to fill it out at the end of February. The link is sitting on Broadcast Voxer. I will probably also post that link on our Facebook group. Any questions? Okay, the final part, oops, did I almost have one?
I just have a suggestion.
Yes.
So I've already copied and pasted both of those pictures and the link into my folder called JP Phoenix on my notes on my iPhone. Just if anybody else wants to know how you can keep it and refer back, then it's easy.
That's great,
Good.
Heidi. And you won't need to copy the pictures of that, because when you press on the link, each question will come up, so you really don't need to keep the pictures. But keeping the link would be a really good idea. Copy it from Broadcast Voxer now, so you do not have to go back and scroll up to find it. Put it in a place where you can find it at any given time. Great idea, Heidi. You might even put it in your phone, contact, under notes or something, if that's an easy way to find it. Okay. So finally, for those of you that wanted to hear about Mexico and hear about Bob Burdick and hear about what the 4 Tuesday looks like, I thank you for getting on the call tonight. We're now going to shift over to just what we're doing with our team. Your upline NMD may not be doing this, so there probably isn't any reason for you to be on the call. So for those of you that are not participating in our small team incentives, you might want to leave the call at this point, because this won't apply to you. So, and thank you so much for getting on the call. So we're going to talk about this now.
So those are anybody that has a different national marketing director immediately up.
Right. If you're upline, NMD is not me, probably you don't need to stay on the call. What's that?
Never mind, I just want to see.
Okay. So, all right. So I want to review this and make sure everybody completely understands it. From January 1st through January 31, that's one complete contest. At the end of that month, we will start a second contest. The rules are the same both months. So nothing changes, but it ends at the end of the month and we start over again. So if you go to Turn Up the Heat and you've gotten a trio or more with a new preferred customer, you're going to post a BAM graphic. And if you get 3 BAMs in January, you automatically at conference will get $25. Come to conference and they're $25 is yours automatically.
Are you raising your hand, Noelle, because you already did that? Okay.
And if you do it again in February, you'll get another $25. So that's $50 right there for just getting 6 customers over a period of 2 months. Pretty cool. The second thing, and every time you put a BAM, even if you only get 1 BAM, you didn't get 3, you only got 1, your name will still go in the hat for our awards and recognition event, and you'll be invited to come to our awards and recognition event. In order to be invited to that event, you need to at least have one of these graphics at least one time during the 2 months. So during the 2 months, if all you got was 1 customer and you're coming to conference, you still get to come to our awards and recognition. POWs, this is for connection calls, exploring the business. Would you like to know more about what we do? For 5 exploration calls, do 5 exploration calls in January, $50. Do another 5 in February, you got $100. Now, if you've done both of those BAMs and POWs, you're looking at $150 for the 2 months in incentives automatically. 3, and you get your name in the hat. Every time you do it, you get the name in the hat. So even if you don't get all 5, you still get your name in the hat to win money at conference and our awards and recognition. Shazam is welcome call. Any new rep that you bring in January or February that you get on a call with us for us to welcome, you need 3 welcome calls. It's $100. Do it twice, 3 in January, 3 in February. You're looking at $200. Now we're up to $450, right?
I got lost, but I think so.
Well, it's $250 up above, and now it's 100. 50 and 50 is 150. No, that was 150. That's 200. That's 350. We're up to 350 in awards right now. And finally, if you post an OLA for every connection call you do around Mexico's opening, somebody that wants to know more about Mexico, that maybe have friends there, you're going to get, if you do 5 OLAs, you win $50 at conference. So now we're up to 400. And if you do it again the next month, it's 450. And there you go. So 1 POW, 1 Shazam, 1 OLA, just one of any one of those things, and you get invited to our awards and recognition.
Thursday night.
Thursday night. And it'll just be a short, sweet, fun recognition with a little wine, and we'll have a good time. So, and then our main, big, fun dinner for the whole Heat team is at Rustler's Roost on Friday night. It's like a cowboy outdoor. It's a really cool place, and we'll have some music, and we'll have barbecue, and there's probably going to be a couple thousand people there, but we're going to be in the one section of the barn together.
Bring your shit kickers.
So, any questions?
Oh, yes, I do have a question.
Great.
So what about Tower Garden orders? Does that count? Or
Yeah,
even Tower Garden accessories?
I'm sorry, a trio or a tower garden. I'm going to have to change that flyer or more. So a tower garden is the equivalent basically of a trio or more. Accessories without a tower garden wouldn't make it, but a tower garden is definitely on the list.
Okay.
You get a tower garden, you get a BAM.
Yay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
You guys, I want to encourage you to continue to have more conversations, more conversations, more conversations. You know, Einstein talks about energy. He says nothing happens until something moves. In our business, nothing happens until you open your mouth and talk to somebody. So I had a new person on a welcome call yesterday ask me, isn't it a little bit awkward in the beginning? I said, you know what? It's awkward for the rest of your career, but just get used to it. And the more you do it, the less awkward it is.
And
But
even if it's the same awkward, you're more comfortable with awkward.
Right.
Get comfortable with awkward.
Every time you step out of your comfort zone expands a little bit. So, but you know, it is January. People are still making those, what do I call them? New Year's resolute illusions.
Resolutions.
Yeah. And so just remember, and I'm reminded every time I go surfing, and I had a great day today, that, you know, every time I catch a wave, I'm getting better, I'm getting better, I'm getting better. It's the same thing with your conversations. And remember also that we're changing lives with these conversations. People deserve to get this message. So whatever is slowing you down from having the conversation, you know, somebody asked Jim Rohn on the road to success, where should I start? And he said, throw up a rock, and wherever it lands, start there. And so my analogy is just, you know, ask the next person you get on the call with or you run into, do you know anybody in Mexico? There's a good opening for a conversation. So, okay, those are my last words.
Fantastic. Everybody have an absolutely fabulous week. We will see you next Tuesday night. We've got a special that'll be the third Tuesday of the month. We've got some great plans for things to go over next Tuesday. Come on with your team. Encourage your sideline buddies within our group to be on the call Tuesday nights. It's going to be awesome.
Stay connected.
Stay connected. Good night, everybody.